Oh, where were we in the super movie? I think we do this sideways. From sideways. Why not? Super movie reading like 3 or 4. What is this? We already have like fucking a 2 hour movie just from the readings. Alright, reading number 4 or 5, who knows. Later in that evening, what is evening when you're not on a planet that's revolving? Anyhow, it occurred to Solo, and he told Chewie as such that, yeah, about our next kidnappee, Chewie. Jeff Spicoli, hello, he isn't real, like. That's a fictional character played by the Earth actor of that time, Sean Penn. Fucking space case. Chewie had been sad and ashamed all day, and it was like the final fucking straw. He didn't start sobbing. He bit through his Wookiee tongue to prevent that, but he just felt ashamed, miserable, worthless. And that's where Han Solo's best instincts kicked in. Solo was a good friend, a true friend, and knew when to forget about the iniquity that is Chewbacca's sex pig proclivities that has now caused the fucking Falcon to break down between two galaxies, and they can't even fix it because they're like have to have the fucking artificially intelligent machine diagnose whatever the fucking methane queefs and big O fucking spewing gallons of semen methane farts that horrified the mice to where if you looked you'd see him fucking popping out of the fur like from Chewie's head and fucking taking the jump and the death of impact like World Trade Center jumpers then hang around for Wookiee fucking sexual congress. Anyhow, that's why he's feeling really bad. He got busted yet again. Thought he fucking finally conquered his like fucking weak-willed urge to enter, strictly forbidden, by the way, the orgy room of the Falcon. So, despite the fact that Han should have been like, cannot fucking believe you did that again, man, that you fucking, we gotta take that fucking room out of there, man. I told you 4 times, man, you were going to kill us all, break down the ship. You're not allowed, Chewie, into the fucking orgy room. It fucks shit up. Yoda had to go to the hospital on another planet the last time you did that because he fucking got so sick that he just wouldn't eat for days, man. That shit is gross. Want to have sex? Anyhow, he could see Chewie knew this and was just like really down on himself and sad and like hated himself. And being a good friend, Han Solo put his arm around Chewie and forgot about like technically he should be like, dude, we can't have you on the ship anymore. But he's like, okay. He's upset. Like, put his arm around Chewie, and then again took it away, kind of, because he was grossed out still. Tell you what we can do, good old buddy. This ought to lift your spirits. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It was filmed in, like, what, 1982 Earth time? Right? Here's what we can do. We'll slip into the set, kidnap Sean Penn in Spicoli costume. Imagine when fucking we use those things that help us slide through fucking time. Like, they won't even see us as we kidnap them. Like, fucking, they're moving like this in the physics of their thing. We put on the fucking puntins. Turn those things on to full speed, man. They won't even see us fucking run up and abduct him in Spicoli gear. Right off the set, man. Like, fucking... Imagine Sean Penn in Spicoli costume by the back window as the Earth zips away into a dot. And he's like, fucking, what the fuck is this shit, man? I was the king of Hollywood, man. Like, take me, but what is this shit, man? In Spicoli costume. Han and Chewie were just like fucking in hysterics at that point. Like, fucking seeing a guy who would become a fucking super great top shelf actor in Spicoli costume, kidnapped right off the set. Fucking just in a fraction of a second, he's doing one of his lines. Then next thing he knows, boom! How'd I get what? He's looking at like fucking the picture window at the back of the Falcon, and the Earth is right there, and it just like goes from planet size huge to like, and he starts crying or something. Like fucking, they're picturing like imagine him in Spicoli costume. What the fuck is what the hell? Take me back! Ah. So anyhow, they're fucking in hysterics. We'll fucking kidnap him off the set of Fast Times. Imagine fucking Sean Penn, the hot shit Hollywood fucking probably coquette young Turk that he must have been in '82, man. Holy swivel fucking sticks, Chewie. We'll even do this. We'll pick up John Lennon 5 minutes after he was shot. We'll blow his mind by saving him with the fucking first aid spheres, which to anyone from 1980 would seem like magic. We'll restore him to health and repair the damage from the hollow point bullets while he watches in amazement in 1.5 minutes with the super enhanced platinum super diamond metal healing orbs. And now John Lennon was a sadistic fucker, Chewie. Like that time the Beatles were on the train to go see the Maharishi in Bangor. His wife Cindy, man, check out the films. You haven't seen it, Chewie. Chewie's like fucking Cindy was late, missed the train by 10 seconds in that fucking dumb fucking hippie garb of the time. Fucking with her luggage in hand, decked out in that stupid 1960s fashion, she started crying. And you can't help but feel for the girl when she gets sad like that. You can see it on the film, man. John Lennon, who was alerted to this by dear old Mel Evans on the train, thought it was so hilarious. John Lennon fucking ran to the back into the caboose so that he could see her in her futile dash, laughing hysterically as the train picked up speed. He yelled to her, and Cindy was John Lennon's wife at the time, "Run, Cindy, run!" And then went back in where Yoko was like fucking like waiting. A cocksucker with no fucking like fucking morals at all of that caliber. John Lennon's off the beaten track, mostly unknown, fucking sadistic fucking sense of humor, man. He would be into fucking being healed, checking out all this shit like fucking Mozart's fucking freaking out in there. Here's what I proposed, Chewie. We pick up Lennon, heal his wounds, show him outer space, explain to him the situation, inform him that we have Mozart, let John look into the orgy room where Mozart is probably getting his rocks off right now. And while Lennon probably won't meet fucking Mozart for another couple days, because we have an orgy room that creates perfect sex pigs that know everything that turns you on. But whatever. We won't have a lot of time to explain it all. We have to get him on board for the Sean Penn Spicoli prank. Sean Penn, Han kept on telling fucking Chewbacca excitedly, knew who John Lennon was, of course. Like every other human being on the planet Earth at the time. Imagine the look on Sean Penn's 1982 face, dressed up like fucking Spicoli. All I need are some tasty waves and cool buds. Fucking, like, we bring him to the back room in front of that picture window, show the Earth disappearing real fast. So he's like, he might never get back to Earth, he's thinking in his mind. In Spicoli uniform. And he looks up next to that picture window and sees John Lennon alive in front of the fucking window so that he'll see the Earth in the background zipping away with John Lennon, who was shot like what, a year before that? Like fucking. That's why we have to wait like fucking more than 5 minutes after John was shot, because like fucking. We'll do something. We'll fucking tell the supercomputer to figure out how to make a fucking exact duplicate of like fucking John Lennon as he's being shot with exact wounds, make it look like his dead body so we can get the real John Lennon before he dies, put the orbs on him, say, hey, we brought you on board for a joke on an actor that's not really famous that much yet, who, had we not saved you, John, like fucking to take you a year into the future in about 3.5 minutes, an actor that's gonna be famous for a character he's gonna play in a movie that's gonna come out a year after, like, people think you're dead, and we had to, like, fucking put a replacement that looked exactly like you. That's what you saw us moving out as we fucking, like, took the just shot you in 1980, brought you on the ship and healed you while what looked to be an already dead you, exactly like you, Chewbacca hoisted out, like, into the cop car, like, back to the Dakota. It's because this actor has to believe what would have happened a year ago to him in about 3 minutes. We're going to go into his time a year from what time it is now. And then you will have been dead a year, which is why we had to take the duplicate corpse. It was just matter that was, like, fucking taken out of a compost of air by our machines. You'll understand, John. Tell me more. Thank you for taking someone shot me just now, and now I'm on a spaceship. And you're Han Solo, man, from the Star Wars. You're Harrison Ford, man. What's the deal? How could this be? I just saw the Earth go by, but it's freakily do. Tell me more about this prank. Help me help you, Han. Now, of course, this actor who you don't know, but like a year from now is going to be kind of knows who you were. And when he sees you alive in Spicoli costume, this fucking, like, stoner hippie doofus played by, like, what is the hot shot of the Hollywood Hills actor of the day, he'll probably weep and cry. And we want you, if you can, Mr. Lennon, we love your music, by the way, to fucking just be, like, nonchalant, like, what's up, Sean? It's pretty fucking head trip, man. You're going to shit yourself or something. Just do it, okay? He's like, yes, let's do it. Fucking, of course, Sean Penn in 1982, we're gonna be there in about 1 minute now. Fucking imagine the look on Penn's face, Chewie. His 1982 face, dressed up like fucking Spicoli when we get him on the Falcon, bring him back to the room, sit him, sees John Lennon, who's supposedly died a year before that, alive in front of the picture window, so that he'll see not only fucking one of the Beatles alive a year after his death, but also that he is outside the orbit of the Earth as it zips away into invisibility. So they split through time to that night in 1980 when John Lennon was murdered. Just before the assassin pulled the trigger, Chewbacca did a move with his right fucking fingernail that could only be described as elegant Wookiee jujitsu. And the fuckhead was obliterated like 20 watermelon hit by a speeding truck. They grabbed John Lennon, put the fucking, like, created out of the orgy rooms, like, other functions, like fucking exact duplicate of that, what would have been John's dead body, indistinguishable to the people that would be left behind in the alternate universe now of 1980. Let me just try to read this book instead of, like, adding all my shit. They grabbed John Lennon, who, I'm sorry, the would-be assassin actually got 2 rounds off when the late-coming Wookiee and Solo showed up. They had to park the Falcon in Central Park and run over to get to the Dakota. Dashing back with the wounded Lennon, they quickly took off into the sky. Mozart was just wiping himself off from all the sex when Han went to the medical room, fetched one of these metallic-looking, weird, holographic kind of looking cartoon, yet, like, real, like, spheres that emanated a real sense of wellness from, like, 10 feet away. Like, fucking Solo had to put a suit on so that he didn't get all blissed out from holding the thing. Like, fucking put it up to the wounds on Lennon, and the bullets came out, and, like, fucking you could see, like, the tissues repair itself, and fucking with awestruck look from Lennon. Like, slowly came back from, like, nearly bleeding to death, in shock, level of consciousness. Fucking, within 5 minutes, he was healthier than he'd ever been in his whole life. Han then explained that there was no time now to go into the full explanation of what was going on, except to say that they needed him for a practical joke on the actor Sean Penn, 2 years in the future, which was only 2 minutes away. When they landed in 82, they donned these body-hugging suits that allow them to move through time quicker than a normal waking human being. They perceive time like you're perceiving time as you watch this, like, but these suits are like, so they fucking come in like fucking, hey, there he is. It's like, should the human being still in normal time, they're just like, appear to be stuck between pauses. Like, they come sauntering in, well, grab him. Hey, maybe take a picture of Jennifer Jason Leigh. Or what do? The computer's hooked up to the synapses of your brain already. It's already taken your memory of it. And Chewie, it doesn't matter anyways, because you can't you're not allowed in that fucking orgy room. You'll fucking, like, kill everyone eventually if it fucking, like, fills the fucking Falcon up too much. No. Grab him. Fucking John, what do you think, man? We're walking through the milliseconds of time with this shit. We'll explain completely later, but we need you to help us, like, fucking help Chewie get Sean Penn and Spicoli Costume's feet. To the people filming Fast Times, they're like, alright, take two, quiet on the set, and then, like, fucking 1 second, all I need are some tasty waves and some they're moving so fast with their that bodysuits that fucking can go through time that when his next moment of awareness, he's already been completely lifted and abducted off the set, and he's on the room, they're in the ship, zipping away, there's John Lennon, fucking now collaborating with a not quite cleaned off from all the fucking, like, pearl orgasm from his dream girls, like, fucking harem of, like, fucking mistresses from his memories of masturbation of young man past, in the flesh, made by the machine, on the Falcon, in the orgy room, and still got that stench of the Coney Island bad breath, because that was only like fucking an hour and a half before this. And if you could imagine, like, doesn't really have time, hasn't had time yet to brush his teeth, and like, he's got queef, like fucking stains here from like the whole time that he was in there, like fucking. And I know there's some time discrepancies here in the plot line, but we'll figure them out later. Anyhow, he's looking fucking, here's how it goes. They donned the bodysuits that allowed them to move through time and space quicker than a normal waking human being could ever notice. At this point, Lennon and Mozart were excited to take part in this gag, and Solo let them come along. They snatched Sean Penn in Jeff Spicoli costume right off the set of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. One moment he was there filming, in the blink of an eye, he was looking at John Lennon on a spaceship with the Earth in outer space zipping away. Looking at John Lennon said in a devious Liverpudlian drawl, well, hello there, Sean. Mozart had a little keyboard he was doodling upon amazingly, and in the background the Earth got smaller and smaller till 7 seconds later it wasn't even visible. And of course, to their delight, in full Spicoli costume and regalia, Sean Penn freaked the fuck out, pissed himself, screamed in terror, wailed and moaned about how he had everything back in Hollywood, and begged for them to take him back. The whole gang was in hysterics as Sean Penn in Spicoli costume fell into fetal position, started pooping himself, and went into infantile regression, even shitting himself and making cooing guttural, like nervous breakdown of the highest order, because like suddenly you're on a ship and somebody that fucking died years ago is looking at you clearly alive, like fucking, as the earth zips away, you might fucking have a, a, a break experience, if you will. Anyhow, I'm gonna try to keep on focus here. We're already at 20 minutes. They were crying from laughter. John Lennon then got the full explanation of what was going on. He got along with Mozart right off the bat. They toked off the warp bong, then Han and Chewie took them to light speed so John could catch a quick glimpse of the Higgs boson tachyonic omniscient mystical consciousness. Then John convinced the pilots to let him pick the next kidnappee, but was denied again. When I say again, I mean one of the guys he wanted to put on the cover of the Sgt. Pepper's album, Jesus Christ, he was flatly denied by the Beatles management back in the day. And had to choose another person because they wouldn't let him put Jesus Christ because of that fucking, like, freaking the "we're bigger than Jesus Christ" controversy that back in the Beatles timeline was like still only so like the cover of the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, John had originally wanted Christ to be on there along with a lot of other people, but he was flatly denied. And in the same way, man, freaking as he was like actually with John Lennon, like wit, talent, and charisma, convinced fucking Han and Chewie to let him pick the next person. But they had to deny him, man. Like fucking. Where did it go? I'm trying to find it. He was flatly denied. Non-plus, he rattled off another person who didn't make the Sgt. Pepper's album cover cut as well, Adolf Hitler. Then Chewie barked, having like a weird stone pot, deep fucking cosmic thought. To the effect, Sean Penn is supposed to be one of these self-esteemed top-shelf actors of the Marlon Brando, Pacino, De Niro caliber, right, Solo? That's what he's ambitiously gonna shoot for in his career. Give him time through the 80s, 90s, and fucking 2000s. Eventually, let's give him some training, don't you think? Some method acting training, some real role research he'll never forget. If we can't get Jesus Christ, let's convince Sean Penn to become a Spicoli, savior, Christ-like being. Take him off to a primitive planet, drop him off, and he as Spicoli will be their Jesus Christ of sorts. Then we can pick him up like 1,000 years later with this thing. What, it'll take us 5 minutes? And pick him up just before he's killed, like the second coming of Spicoli. Fuck with that planet. That's a prank that's moving into planetary. Millions and millions of fucking beings being pranked. Everyone was in hysterics, but realized that they had already talked about that idea. Then Chewbacca had the real fucking, like, stoned, innovative Wookiee epiphany thought. Translated as, we'll pick up both the 19-year-old Adolf Hitler and then zip to the bunker 5 seconds before he kills himself, make them face each other. The group was galvanized at this point, and John Lennon was like, fucking took over. In fact, John was getting a completely non-sexual boner. This idea was so fucking mind-blowing. Getting 2 different age Hitlers as the next abductees. Fucking, given the situation he was in, he realized the scope and power within his actual grasp. He saw the planets that the solar system whizzing by, met Mozart, fresh from the greatest mind-blowing sexual orgy of his life. He felt as vigorously healthy and alive as a teenager from the highly advanced metal orbs that healed him in about 5.5 minutes. He experienced the overmind at light speed, and now his genius personality was able to gaze upon not one, but 2 Adolf Hitlers, potentially. Forget about the sick joke they just played on Sean Penn, who was like fucking shitting himself in the fucking costume he's still wearing, Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and the messianic method acting like fucking emotional extortion they're gonna do, like fucking, I just want to go back to Hollywood, Sean would probably say at that point in time. And they're like, well, first you have to do this, and then we'll bring you back. So fucking John Lennon's getting a non-sexual boner. This is far out then, isn't it? Before they went to fetch Hitler, John, a very well-read and educated mind in his time, remarked, "You know that fucking little gimp Hitler? He truly loved his fucking dumb German shepherd, Blondie, I think it was the name. We should get his dog too and teach him all a lesson." Han and Chewie were now more excited about this prank party journey of discovery than ever before. They actually didn't know much about Hitler. They learned a lot about multiple histories of various planets' histories, civilizations, and various alternate things from, like, fucking, at this point, from fucking with time, in their own Andromeda galaxy. And a fair, respectable amount of factual information about a bunch of civilizations and planets in the Milky Way galaxy. They knew of Mozart and John Lennon for some reason, but the universe and its galaxies just contained too many billions of planets that had their own histories to have been acquainted with them all. So they didn't know much about Hitler at this point. So at this point, they were becoming unforeseeably excited. John, being a gifted, descriptive, describer of the historical situation concerning Hitler's story, fucking keep losing my place. Sorry, listeners. Like fucking. So John Lennon explained to fucking like Chewie and Han Solo and to Mozart who Hitler was. From birth to death. He was selling Han and Chewie on this one. John suggested they pick up Hitler's dog Blondie and force him to eat its feces or something, or kill the dog in front of it. They were rolling on the floor in laughter and soon were off to before World War One, 1900s, like fucking Titanic times. Kidnapped the 19-year-old Hitler off the streets of Vienna when he was living in a flop house, fucking drawing his drawings of buildings, which not for nothing should have been looked at more favorably by the fucking, like, the art school he was applying to, right? So he's drawing one of his silly things, like having a doofus dream, living homeless in Vienna, early 1900s, gets kidnapped by the Millennium Falcon. When young Hitler saw Chewbacca, he nearly wet his pants. Han, Chewie, and the growing gang were all getting into this role, looking murderous and mean to the young Hitler, as if to convey, you're in big fucking trouble. Looking like hell's bus drivers, man. Plus, John wanted to fuck Debbie Harry now. That, like, he was putting, like, oh, they have an orgy room that can create shit, and fucking, can we kidnap Debbie Harry after he thought of Blondie, because he's so stoned from the fucking, like, game room's warp bong pot. Anyhow, you think you're hot shit, Adolf, John said. And he went on, you think you got everything figured out, huh? You're fucking screwed, kid. I want to show you something. Scared, shitless, defenseless, fucking next to the picture window that overlooked the rapidly disappearing Earth. Hold on, dumbass! We'll start the next episode in a second. You don't need any. You take too much, you're gonna have a heart attack.
I don't even have time to get mine tomorrow if I have to go back to this fucking apartment.
See, now the shoe's on the other foot. I'm not gonna really fuck with you because I'm busy doing these super movie
I did
reading.
give you my last one.
I will give you some, but like fucking, I don't even have time to play that. Okay, I'm gonna like make her medical decisions for her, like she always does for me. Listen, you really have a fucking completely self-absorbed. I can't wait to hear. I just have to turn this off because I've been recording 3 hours of this super movie in its entirety on the video.
That was the hardest $100.
Up to fucking John Lennon, like getting the opportunity to choose the next kidnapping, 19-year-old Hitler, and fucking like to Hitler 10 minutes before he killed himself.
Megan's having a dinner at her house. Molly wants to go.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's go. What time? Give me a second to wrap this shit up, man.
Alright, I gotta hop in the shower.
Oh my god, this one's 30 minutes long. I've got almost more than an entire first season of a half-hour sitcom. Shut up and quit interrupting me. You'll get yours when you come out. Who cares what you want? Take your shower. When you come down, we'll get your shit. Don't you talk back to me, man. If there's one thing I got no more tolerance for, no. You can have it when you get out. It's 10 minutes away. Women should have never let them fucking thinking they were smart. Because now it's all this. And eat your vitamins, kids.